"Don't you dare point that thing at me." The old woman's voice cracked to the stillness like a gunshot, raw, trembling, and soaked in years of buried grief. Tourists froze, a child gasped, and Staff Sergeant Daniel Cole, frozen mid-step in his immaculate ceremonial stride, felt his throat tighten beneath the weight of his uniform collar. The rifle on his shoulder suddenly felt heavier, as if every death it had symbolized pressed down on him at once. The woman crossed the boundary rope with surprising force for someone her age, eyes locked onto the weapon he carried. "Let me touch it," she sobbed. "My son died because of that." The wind at the National Cemetery always sounded different to Daniel Sharper, almost reverent, like it respected the silence here. But today, even the wind hesitated. It seemed to hover, suspended, as though waiting to see which way this moment could break, calm or catastrophe. Evelyn Carter stood no more than 6 feet away from him, her frail shoulders trembling as though she were holding up an invisible world. Daniel had seen grief before, in civilians and soldiers, in himself, but nothing like this. A grief that moved, walked, clenched, demanded. Her silver hair fell in messy strands across her wet cheeks. She looked like someone who had cried all night and simply run out of places to put her sorrow. "Ma'am, step behind the line," Daniel said, his voice clipped, controlled, trained. Only the slightest quiver betrayed the fact that he was no longer speaking to a stranger. He was speaking to a mother. She didn't move. Her fingers, thin and shaking, lifted toward the ceremonial rifle on his shoulder. Not to grab it, not to harm anyone, but as if drawn to it by something magnetic and terrible. "I need to touch it," she whispered. "Just once. I need to know. I need to understand how something like that could take him from me." Her voice cracked somewhere between pleading and fury, a place Daniel knew too well. Visitors backed away, murmuring. A young man raised his phone to film before a security officer shot him a warning glare. Children clung to their parents' hands. The cemetery's sacred hush began to twist into something unfamiliar. Daniel felt sweat forming beneath his white gloves. The weapon on his shoulder, empty, ceremonial, harmless in this context, suddenly felt like a live grenade. The rules said he should order her back a second time. The rules said he should raise his voice, assert authority, call for backup if she refused. But the rules had never trained him to look into the eyes of a grieving mother and see so clearly the reflection of his own. "Ma'am," Daniel tried again, quieter this time. "You cannot cross this boundary. This area is restricted during the guard cycle." "You think I care about your cycle?" she snapped. "You think I care about your perfect steps, your polished boots, your sacred ceremony?" Tears streamed freely now. "My son is dead. Do you hear me? Dead." Daniel heard her too well. Her gaze locked onto the rifle, a standard issue M14 modified for ceremonial duty, polished to a mirror sheen. Nothing like the weapons he'd carried overseas. And yet, in her shaking voice and her trembling fingers, he understood. This rifle,